This is a football-mad country. Every weekend and on some other days, many people troop to viewing centers to watch their favorite teams play. They watch pensively and then erupt in celebration when a goal is scored. If you are curious as to how much football has pervaded the social space in Nigeria, just look at this church. This is the Redeemed Evangelical Mission Trend. Every member of the choir and many devotees here don a club jersey on what they call the Football Sunday. This day, the worship service is devoted to football. The annual event is a prelude to one of the longest running football tournaments in the country, organized by a religious body, the Mike Okonkwo Football Competition. Vice President of the Nigeria Football Federation (NFF), Seyi Akinwumi, was one of the speakers at this year's Football Sunday. Along with him, our elder brother to former player and coach of the Super Eagles, Sunday Olise, and owner of local team FC Ebede, Churchill Olise, and radio presenter with Brila FM, Matthew Edafe.
I see across everywhere and in the choir, everybody wearing Manchester United, Arsenal, Samsung of Chelsea, and all of that. Unfortunately, I don't see any Eimba or Rangers, but I'm sure that by the next time I come, I'll see Trem FC. Football, otherwise known as soccer in some places, is a sport that has brought about unity, peace, friendship, and passion. Indeed, what somebody once wrote, probably erroneously, but wrote that football is life. He didn't realize the depth of that statement. I'm sure that we as Christians do. But we understand what he was trying to say. He was trying to say that football is so germane to our development, to our growth, to our happiness, to our health in Nigeria, and therefore it's tantamount to being extremely germane to our lives.
Many churches have been known to struggle with getting their devotees to attend a meeting on a big football day. Some have questioned the passion surrounding the game to the extent it competes with devotion to God. Many people believe the church is already overreaching its boundaries in many things.
The essence of the new approach to Christian worship has shifted from pure spirituality and the desire to connect to the transcendental dimensions of reality, if there is any such thing. Emphasis have shifted from there to what is mundane, what is down to earth, what is pragmatic, what can earn the church not only popularity, but of course more money, so that you can now see that indeed spiritual enlightenment, spiritual growth is no longer the ultimate ratio of religious worship.
This gradual movement of churches into sports, it's not only football now. In fact, I know that the Redeemed Church, for example, has a whole, gamut of sporting activities that they organize. For me, it's reaching out. The idea is that church is for old men and women. That is, the impression that is being created. And if you found something that these children love and can bring them or can introduce them to the knowledge and word of God, why not? We should. So appropriately, I believe that it's time for churches to delve into this realm of affairs.
If it was about evangelism and making sure you want to swell the ranks of the church, how many players are in a club? How many want to come to church to swell the tithing and offering? And people have many opinions. But one thing I can say is that at least that group of players or young people that are playing for the club or associated with the club, there is something that's keeping them together, something that keeps them off the streets, something that helps them to showcase their talents and make them people.
In the 16th century, some preachers were fiercely opposed to football due to the violence associated with it and barred the game on church grounds. But this changed in the 19th century with the emergence of muscular Christianity and the adoption of the first set of soccer codes in Sheffield and the formation of the English Football Association, the FA. But the churches barred matches on service and holy days.
Because football has a very large followership. For me, it's an avenue for evangelism. I think that it is all right for churches to delve into that realm. As a matter of fact, indeed all other activities as well. Physical exercise has gained prominence because it has been discovered that it has the ability to prolong life. It has the ability to prolong life. So, I mean, the longer people can live and propagate the gospel, the better for us. So if we see these young people, who in their young age are indulging in such exercises, it behooves the church to encourage them.
For many people, the love for football is so strong, they would describe it as a religion. Since 2000, the Redeemed Evangelical Mission Trem has staged a football tournament which they say has produced many talents. Now, they say they want to take it a notch higher with a football club. This church is a testament that Nigerians love foreign football clubs. Many of these clubs have religious roots. Everton, Manchester City, Southampton, Aston Villa, Bolton Wanderers, Birmingham City, Tottenham Hotspur, and Fulham, as well as Celtic and Glasgow Rangers, were founded by churches. Of the 39 clubs which have played in the English Premier League since 1992, 12 owe their origins to the church. Arsenal moved to their stadium in 1913 on a ground leased from a church college with religious conditions. Since 1927, the Christian hymn, "Abide with Me," has been the anthem of the English FA Cup. In Ireland, the church has played a huge role in football. Football was not played on Sunday until 2008. The fierce, almost deadly rivalry between Celtics and Rangers in Scotland is not more than opposition and differences between Roman Catholics and Protestants.
Many clubs in the developed nations are owned by churches. The Chelsea and the Liverpool and many of these clubs you hear of, they all started through the basement of churches. And until Nigeria gets to that stage, the system is difficult to break. But when the faith begin to look into the direction of sports in this country, that stronghold will be destroyed. It will be destroyed in Jesus' name. And the journey has started. And on this note, I want to join the church with its vision of getting a football club.
In Spain, Club of Castile Royalty, 11-time European champions Real Madrid, and the Club of the Masses, Barcelona, bear the Christian cross on their crest as an indication of their heritage. But today, the prosperity of the game and the infusion of big money could be changing all that. Matches are now played on Sunday and some other holy days. Recently, Real Madrid removed the cross on their crests to land a lucrative shirt deal with Fly Emirates.
The football business is individual. That was a Real Madrid decision. So it took the decision, and that's for them. We can't take a decision based on all the clubs. So each club must decide what they want to do and what direction they want to take.
Money is usually an issue in matters like this. And individuals will do anything, you know, just to get rich. Faith is what we are talking about, all right? Some faith is small, some big. If your faith is worth your salt, then you will not sacrifice your faith for anything else. But I'm tempted to say that we should not also condemn Real Madrid. Because they removed a logo, supposedly, you know, a Christian logo. That may not be sufficient to condemn them. Because, to begin with, Christianity is not about outward thing, it's an internal thing. It's an internal thing. It's something that should well up inside of you. I heard somebody say it's obstetrics, you know. It's inside, it's not pediatrics.
Back home in Nigeria, the churches are recreating the English scenario.
Holy are you, Lord.
For the past 17 years, TREM has spent tens of millions of naira to organize the Mike Okonkwo football competition. And in 2017, 64 teams are participating in the tournament, which is held to celebrate the birth date of the bishop of the church. Organizers are hoping the tournament this time will give birth to a bigger project, a football club which will compete on the big stage.
Motivate the people, like I said, to go into the leagues in the country and compete for the leagues and come out the best. And then for some of them also to play in the world scene. I want to see them international football. That will be my greatest joy, because it is actually part of the vision, to make them know that, listen, this is beyond playing a local football. But our interest is to bring out the potential, the investment that God has put in you as a young person.
In 2007, the Mountain of Fire and Miracles Ministries, MFM, began an outreach to young people through football. Today, the church has built a football team through that outreach. The General Overseer, Reverend Daniel Olukoya, said it was a platform to help launch some of the young people into their destiny. Today, the church has built a football team through this outreach. And this club has made history as the only church team to feature in the top flight of Nigerian football.
The General Overseer of our church, Dr. Daniel Olukoya, loves the youth so much. He's doing all he can to ensure that he brings the youth out from the paths where the devil feeds on their innocence. So he established a lot of destiny discovering programs, which he termed 70-point agenda, and the football is part of it. So the aim of having a football team is to win souls to Christ. Unfortunately for us, we are now playing in the elite league in Nigeria.
MFM is not the only church investing massively in soccer. A branch of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, RCCG, the City of David, was the first to float a football team. They had a men's team in the second division of the Nigerian league, and then a women's team. The massive financial outlay has seen them employ former national team coaches like Austin Eguavine and Eukeria Uche to handle the clubs.
We went into football because we wanted to use it as a tool. We wanted to use it as a tool to bring people to Christ. Football, as we know, is the greatest tool anybody can use in anywhere in the world, right? So as sport, we have taken football as the main tool to bring people to Christ, and that's why we've gone into it. City of David as a church, a parish of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, we are into many things, right? So there's entertainment, there's government, there's politics, and there's all those spheres of influence across the nation. Sports is where what we're talking about today. So we've taken football as sport to go into it, and we're ready to at least commit to funds, because we also know that to impact the world, to impact people and all that, you need to spend a little money.
Some have said this is a gimmick to get more people into the church, thereby attracting more revenues from tithes and offerings.
The issue now is, how can we get more people, what you might call potential customers of the church, who will make different levels of contribution to bolster the pulse of the church. It's no longer how can we act as agent of spiritual change, spiritual enlightenment for the enhancement of the individual first and foremost, and then for the upliftment of the society of which the individual is a part. So it is that paradigm shift from what ought to be the spiritual core, the spiritual message of religion, to the here and now, the economics, the what you might call the popularity game. It is that paradigm shift that you are noticing now that churches are using a very popular sport all over the world, football, in order to win no longer souls. Forget what they tell you about winning souls. They are now winning customers. And so, if football, which is the greatest sport now in contemporary society, can serve as a vehicle to attract more customers to the church, it's well and good for the founders.
That's not what it is. The biggest clubs in the world now started from the church. You know, Manchester City started from the church, Liverpool started from the church, Everton started from the church, Crystal Palace started from the church, Birmingham City started from the church. I can go on and on and on and on, you know. So we are watching those guys, we are celebrating and all that about these teams, not knowing that they started from the church, right? So the church is just an instrument to use to impact society. Anything that seems to be getting people's attention is a good tool for the church to use to impact.
Some people, you know, saw the wisdom or had the wisdom in 19th century or whatever century, you know, to want to bring football into the church. And we are doing so now. Then, of course, for me, it's something to be commended. And as a matter of fact, as I said earlier, I do not see any divergence. I do not see any difference, you know, between congregating in the church and also, you know, taking church to the football field. I do not see any difference. The earth is the Lord's.
Jesus came to this world to save the lost souls. And one thing is that for us, the Mountain of Fire Miracles Ministry, we are into the gospel. The general overseer of our church, Dr. Daniel Lukoya, established this football club to reposition the youth. So we playing football or other sports, we are not trying to enrich ourselves. MFM Football Club, it's not for money making, it's not for business. Most of our players, we discover them on the streets just to ensure that they can positively impact their families and their generation for Christ.
and rescue you from the fear of...
Prophet Temitope Joshua of the Synagogue Church of All Nations does not only perform miracles. His team, My People FC, has produced notable footballers like Super Eagles midfielder Ogenyi Onazi and 2009 FIFA Under-17 World Cup finalist Emmanuel Sani. Some have said this is a gimmick to get more people into the church, thereby attracting more revenues from tithes and offerings.
I met my friend who is in Under-17 camp, Sani Emmanuel. I spoke with him. I now realize he's from My People FC, from TB Joshua. I said, since he's a prophet, I wanted him to just tell the prophet just to pray for me so that I can make it to the final team to represent Nigeria. Then the prophet said he should invite me to the church so we can pray. When I went there, the prophet said he likes my humility, who I am. He wants to sponsor me to travel. He was the one who actually sponsored me to travel to Sweden. And so I give thanks to God for that grace. So he sponsored us to Sweden, and then we came back to play in the Under-17 World Cup. And so TB Joshua was used, like God used him as a medium to sponsor me to my career where I am today. And so I give thanks to God.
Many of the football teams created by the churches in England in the 19th century are no longer church teams. They have gone on to become big business ventures with massive global following and even non-Christian ownerships in the non-Christian world with non-Christian rules. Can the Nigerian churches let go after these massive investments?
COD, MFM, they started, but I can see an evolution taking place in MFM. It's getting more professional. The church, yes, is the financier because of what we know doesn't happen in Nigerian Professional League. But as a financier, at a point, I think the churches should get to the point they must define a time when they pull out and let professionals take over, to run the clubs.
For me, anybody who has this resource to support football, not only football, basketball, anything sports, just to engage the youths to achieve their aims, the person is welcome. And we need all this in Nigeria because the government, the pressure is too much on the government, and we need individuals to really take up all these aspects.
By getting involved in football this way, is the church acting beyond its scope, or is it just confirming Max Weber's axiom on the influence or involvement of Protestant churches or organizations in the emergence of the modern free market, particularly in football?